Hello everyone and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 16 live stream with me, Holly Shand, taking you through all the 1:30 press conferences this afternoon. It feels like we've got another week where we've got the same situation. We want to know the latest news from Pep Guardiola on Erling Haaland. Will he play? Will he not? Can we trust him with the armband? It's all up for consideration this week, so it's certainly going to be an interesting one once again. So thank you everyone for joining. I'm hoping to confirm my transfers, but there is one thing that will hold me back from telling you exactly what I'm doing on this stream, and that is the news that we've got Arsenal's press conference at 3:30 this afternoon, so I wouldn't recommend making any transfers or locking anything in until then, just so that we've got the whole picture, because you know Arsenal assets are very high on the agenda this week away at Wolves, and we don't want to do anything to jeopardise our squads. I'll put on the screen my team at the moment. A few flags in there, as you can see. I don't expect Tomiyasu to be back. We did get a injury update today from Eddie Howe on the not the injury. It's easy to say injury just because he's flagged, but in terms of who's available and who's not from Newcastle United. And this was the latest update from Eddie Howe, who said, we'll make a late call on Callum Wilson. We knew that he had a cold last week. He played 45 minutes, then got subbed off. Didn't play in the Carabao Cup in midweek. And he said today, we will wait and see. He's been training separately from the group because he had an illness. He's trained well, but we'll make a decision ahead of tomorrow. Obviously, it's a big game for Newcastle, who are in the top 4 places as we go into the World Cup break. But Ben did say I'm still leaning towards Callum Wilson to start. So I'm hopeful that we'll get at least some minutes from Wilson. We also had this news that, again, Ben shared with us on Mitrovic. We will have Marco Silva's press conference today as well. But basically, the news coming out of Serbia is that Mitrovic is likely to miss Serbia's first World Cup group game through injury. Obviously, he got, I think it was in the last international break playing for Serbia, he got some sort of foot injury. He missed a few games, then he was back in, he missed a few games, and he's apparently got broken bones in his foot, so we don't know exactly what's going on there, but basically we should have it confirmed in the next half an hour that Mitrovic is out for game week 16. So as the biggest issue in my squad, that's where I'm going to be focusing my transfers. As always, I've got the tweet deck open, ready to get all of the updates from the managers. But yeah, Mitrovic is the one for me to sell. I've not made my transfer yet. I've only got one free transfer, nothing in the bank, so I can only look at forwards up to 6.8 million. It's probably going to be Solanke coming in, but I'll lock that in probably about 4 o'clock today once we've had all of the press conferences, including that one from Arsenal at 3:30, which is a bit annoying. I know a lot of managers will still be holding off on transfers because they'll want to know things like, does Foden start? Does Haaland start? Foden didn't play in the Carabao Cup in midweek. He was on the bench, as was Haaland. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But that's where we're at with that situation. I'm hopeful that Foden will get some minutes because I think he should start really if he got rested midweek. But we will see. Haaland, on the other hand, my captaincy's on Salah at the moment. So let's see what Pep says. I'm actually going to be live on Sky Sports tomorrow for the final 30 minutes before the deadline, so I'm not going to be taking on board the team leaks and trying to make changes as the FPL site crashes. So whatever I go with at 4 o'clock today will be what I am with. So I can see a lot of you have said hello in the chat, so I'll come across and say hello to you guys and then start looking at some of your questions. Good to see lots of you in, some familiar faces. Wayne is in, as is Gary, Niraj, Tajes, Chu, Yogesh, Gazman is in. Thanks for joining live again. Nuclear Atoms is in, as is Atif, Edward, Christian and Abaneza. So lots of you in. Do say hello if you haven't done already and start dropping your questions in, because I'm going to try and answer as many as possible over the next hour. Remember to drop a like as well and subscribe to the channel if you don't already. There's 17 likes, but there's about 50 of you in, so make sure to hit that like button. First question from Wayne. Evening, Holly. Captain Haaland or Salah? For me, I'm on Salah at the moment because I know Salah's going to play 90 minutes. There isn't a lot to split them in terms of the fixture, but given Salah's improvement in form, now he's more central, it makes it a lot more difficult to choose between the two. And when you know Salah's going to play 90 and Haaland isn't, I think that's a fact. Regardless of whether Haaland starts or not, I can't see him playing 90 minutes. It just makes Salah an easy decision. He's missed 1 minute of action over the last 5 game weeks and he scored 4 goals in that time. I think he's up to 9 goals in 8 in all competitions now, given his Champions League form as well. So the minutes thing means that I'm looking at going Salah. I think it's perfectly plausible if you're an owner of Kevin De Bruyne or Harry Kane or Bukayo Saka to also look at giving them the armband, or at least consider it. The fixtures have been set up quite uniquely this weekend because the Premier League didn't want to schedule any really big games between the high profile clubs this weekend, or any local derbies, with it being the last game week before the World Cup break. So we've got favourable fixtures for everything. You've got Man City at home to Brentford, Liverpool at home to Southampton, Spurs at home to Leeds. Then you've got Manchester United away at Fulham. You've also got Arsenal away at Wolves. So there's plenty to go at there in terms of those fixtures. So there's the opportunity to captain someone else. I'm not saying definitely don't captain Haaland. And the headache is, A, the team news situation, B, if you don't captain Haaland and he scores a hat-trick against Brentford in the early kickoff, you're not going to be having a great weekend. I'm actually going to an FPL meetup in London, I think in the Waterloo area. If you have a look at FPL Meets on Twitter, if I do go with Salah captain and Haaland bangs in that first game, then it could be a brutal afternoon. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, at the moment, Salah captain for me. Let's see what Pep says. I could change my mind. Haven't actually got the Sky Sports news on and plugged into that. I'm just going to keep an update on things on Twitter because it's less, the chances of Pep giving us anything firm is less. But it's not going to be a case of, we know he's going to be in the squad basically. So it's not going to be like, oh, Haaland's out. It's just how many minutes he plays. Hopefully Pep gives us some clues. Gary says, hi Holly, I'm doing transfers at Mitrovic to Darwin, Foden to Almiron early to avoid a repeat of last week's fiasco site crash. Yeah, I like that move, Mitrovic to Darwin. I'm hoping they're free transfers and you're not taking a hit, Gary. I'm actually quite hopeful on Foden though, that he gets minutes. Whether you wait for that news or not, I don't know. If you could do Mitrovic to Darwin and then maybe hold off on the Foden to Almiron, maybe meet it halfway, but I mean, I do feel for people with the site crashes. It's been really, really frustrating over the last few weeks. It doesn't seem to be getting any better, and you know, I know some people have really struggled as a result of that. So hopefully FPL kind of get things sorted out in the next few games. Taj has said, so I've lost my place in the chat now. Should I be taking players out of my team if they're going to the World Cup, or will they play? Who knows? I think we will see an odd player miss out because they're protecting themselves for the World Cup. But, you know, we don't know who, so we've just got to hope for the best. Chu says, hey Holly, thoughts on DCL to Nunes? Should I take a -4 hit to take out Mitrovic for Solanke? It depends who your subs are to, so do let me know in the comments who you've got on your bench. We are probably going to need our benches this week. If you're an Andreas owner, that's great because he faces his old club in Manchester United. And if Mitrovic is out, which I strongly suspect he is, then Andreas is on penalties as well, which is good. Neco Williams at home to Crystal Palace, there's some potential for him in that fixture. So these are players that a lot of managers have on their benches that we may need to utilise this week. I like the move though, DCL to Nunes. I just don't know if I take the hit for Mitrovic to Solanke if you've got an Andreas or an Neco Williams on your bench. Yogesh says, good evening. Unai is back. FPL Gazman has said, hi Holly, one free transfer, Rodrigo to Kulusevski or Mitrovic to Darwin. I have Wilson too. Now, this is the thing that we also need to consider. We have to play one striker this week. Now, Mitrovic probably won't get any minutes. Wilson should get minutes. Haaland may not get minutes. Imagine a situation like last weekend against Fulham. Pep had him on the bench. If there were 2-3-0 up, would he have brought Haaland on? Probably not. And the other thing, and I'd be interested to know your thoughts on this in the comments as well on Haaland. Norway have got 2 fixtures before the World Cup starts. 2 friendlies against Ireland and Finland. Now, if Pep doesn't play Haaland this weekend, can he get away with retaining Haaland at City instead of him going off on international duty? That is a factor because, you know, Pep wants to make sure that Haaland's fighting fit for the rest of the season. So that's kind of in the back of my mind of he'll only use Haaland if he absolutely needs to this week. So there is a chance that Haaland plays no minutes. So if you've got Haaland with the potential of playing no minutes, Mitrovic who probably will play no minutes, and Wilson that's a bit of a doubt, you could get to the stage where you've not got a striker even coming on for a 1-pointer this week. So I think that does cloud the situation. So my advice, Gazman, would be to do the Mitrovic to Darwin move, especially if we get news that Mitrovic is out, rather than doing Rodrigo to Kulusevski, which seems like a bit more of a luxury move, but I wouldn't take a hit either. Nuclear Atoms is in, as is Frederick as well, and Saya and Shurkant. So thank you guys for joining. Lots of questions, so do keep them coming. I am just going to pop over to the tweet deck to see if we've got any news. I think it's the Wolves press conference at the moment, so probably not a huge amount. It looks like everyone else is getting geared up though, excuse me, for the 1:30 press conference. Sorry guys, a little bit of a tickly throat there. Atif has said, Benrahma or Eze only have 6 million in the bank for a midfield punt. Any other players you would suggest? Well, Almiron if you don't own him. There's a few midfielders that are popping up actually that have impressed in recent games. Don't know if I'm going to get any on this first page. Marcus Tavernier has got 4 attacking returns in his last 2 games. He's a player that is a real differential. He's involved in quite a lot creatively for Bournemouth, Everton at home this week. We've also got Morgan Gibbs-White at Nottingham Forest. He has 1 goal, 3 assists this season, including that double-digit haul against Brentford last time out. He posted some really strong underlying numbers, both from an attack perspective and defensively. Crystal Palace at home, not the worst fixture for him. There's the young man at Brighton, Matoma. He's back-to-back starts, a goal and an assist. Have a feeling that he scored in the Carabao Cup as well. 4.9 million, quite attacking. He's another one to consider. It's quite a lot. Benrahma and Eze obviously are good options to consider as well. So take your pick there. It's nice that you're in a position where you can take a bit of a punt. I'm not so lucky. I've got fires to fight. Christian says, bench Rashford and start Perisic. Thoughts, please. I mean, I was really hot on Perisic at the start of the week because he played up front for Spurs in game week 15 and he did the same in the Carabao Cup midweek. But then we saw minutes for Kulusevski, minutes for Richarlison. So there's more coverage in those attacking positions for Spurs now. And Sessegnon picked up a bit of an injury as well. So that could spell Perisic going back to left wing back, where he's a little less attractive. Ebenezer says, what, Wilson to Martial? Yeah, I've had a few people say I should be looking at Mitrovic to Martial, but he has just come back from injury. I know he put in a good performance last night in the Carabao Cup. I didn't actually see. He played 25 minutes. I can't actually remember how many minutes he saw in the Carabao Cup, so I'm just going to look that up. Where's it going to tell me? Hang on. We'll try again. I don't think I clicked on the right bit of that there. I didn't actually appreciate that they'd played each other in close succession there as well. There we go. 62 minutes. So he really is working his way back to fitness. So for me, do you want Solanke, who's a 90-minute man, or do you want Martial that could play 10 minutes, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, but not 90 minutes? Solanke's on pens as well. I think, Martial could be on pens too, but I just feel like Solanke is a better option. If you are short on funds and can't get to a Gabriel Jesus, a Darwin Núñez, Roberto Firmino. Hello, Holly. I've Firmino and enough money to switch to Darwin. What do you think? Sounds very sideways. I don't think it's a move you need to make. I think it's perfectly viable for Firmino to outscore Núñez this week. If you feel like Firmino is the weakest part of your squad for this weekend as a luxury move, it's okay, but I should imagine you've got other things going on elsewhere. Frederick has said, do you think Kane is going to be a reliable pick this week? Yeah, absolutely. I would love to have Kane this week. You look at his numbers this season, 11 goals, 2 assists, scoring consistently. Great fixture as well at home to Leeds. I know there was comments from Conte that Kane is fatigued. He could well be, but Conte's doing his bit to say, look, it's been a very congested schedule. Now we've got the World Cup and he's just, flying the flag for his player. So, I wouldn't be concerned about Kane. I think he is a captain pick this week as well. Sherkamp says, is Foden to Bernardo Silva and Justin to Perisic worth it? If Foden starts, it's unlikely. I mean, if you've got James Justin and you're needing a replacement, if you're not trebled up on Arsenal, you could go there as well. If it's 2 free transfers, then it's okay, but for a hit, I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, Vezeron has asked about Callum Wilson. I did share the update, didn't I? Don't know where. Here, this is the update on Wilson. Eddie Howe will make a late call because he's been ill and training away from the group. I did wonder if it was COVID, but yeah, we'll see. But I think he will play some minutes. Ebenezer said, would you start with Dunk or Gay? I think Brighton are ahead in the clean sheet odds. Brighton 38%, Palace 36%. I feel like Dunk's got a little bit more goal threat as well. If we look at the points prediction tool on Fantasy Football Hub this week, see where they rank. I'm just going to ruin that now, haven't I, by stretching it at the wrong place. So Dunk is predicted to score 4 points this week. And it looks like Gay's a little bit further down the list. Not by much though, I don't think, if we're getting to Crystal Palace territory. Yeah, 3.4. Hopefully that helps you out. I'm just going to check that I've not messed up the views. No, I think we're all right. We're fine. Yeah, hope that helps you out, Ebenezer. By the way, guys, if you wanted to get access to the suite of tools on Fantasy Football Hub, including the points predictions, link in the description gets you 30% off your membership. Mahad says, should I sell Wilson? If he is... I mean, I've not got huge expectations for him. I know Newcastle are in form. Chelsea at home is a tricky fixture. If he's the biggest problem in your squad and you've got a free transfer, then I'd do it. But if you've got other issues or it's for a hit, then I'd just leave him in and hope for the best. Nuclear Atoms has asked, Wilson and Bilver out for Darwin and Rashford for a -4. Take some punts to get over the edge by getting into the top million. I mean, it's risk-free reward. What if Bernardo Silva does something against Brentford? I don't like it. I think with Wilson being flagged, I think it's fine to take out 2 flagged players for a hit, just. But not, you know, that could easily punish you, that one. Colm is in. Hi, thanks for joining. Making the move of Darwin to Firmino because Firmino plays too deep. Interesting. Salah's the one you want in that Liverpool team, though, and that's something that we definitely need to be thinking about. We've got 8 minutes now to Pep's press conference. We've got a lot of press conferences coming, guys. If I just recap, we're going to hear from Brighton, Chelsea, Fulham, Liverpool, Leeds, Man City, Spurs and West Ham. So it's going to be busy, but as always, I've got this tweet deck open, so that'll help us to keep an eye on what's going on. Got updates here from the journalists for The Athletic and my own Twitter list of, you know, all the journalists that give us all the information that we need from the press conferences. So going to be an interesting one, that's for sure, in a few minutes. Keep the questions coming though, guys. And if you haven't hit that like button, please do, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me to grow the channel and do more content for you guys. 45 likes. Let's get that over to 50 before we hear from Pep and the rest of the managers. John has asked, would you prefer Mitrovic to Martial or Andreas to Matoma as a 1 week punt? Mitrovic to Martial easily. Andreas could get something against United. Marcus said, I have Firmino. Would you sell Wilson to bring Darwin in as well? No, I don't think I'd make that move. I feel like it's a little bit unnecessary. If it's for free, then maybe, but certainly not for a hit. I feel like I'm a little bit of a broken record, but my biggest piece of advice this week is don't take a points hit unless you're really, really struggling, because you've only got 1 week to get paid back from those transfers, and there's so much that can go wrong when you take a hit. We like to see that paying off over a number of games. But do remember, if you've got the free transfers, use them or lose them. If you've still got the wild card left, use it, because it's basically a free hit for this week. And just be careful as well that you're not transferring out players that you've got value tied up in. So you can find out your player value on the transfers tab on the list view. So like for me, if I was to sell Haaland, I bought him at 11.5. He's now 12.2. So if I sell him, that gives me 11.8. It'll cost me an extra 0.4 to buy him back. And that's the case with a lot of players like Martinelli, Trippier, for example. Let's hop back over to some more questions. Gary says, I have 2 free transfers, but can't afford to just do Mitrovic to Darwin. I mean, if you can get cash out of another player with 2 free transfers, go for it. But there is the likes of Martial and Solanke. Nuclear Atom says, sell Foden because he's going to the World Cup and might play tiredness. I don't think that'll happen. He needs to get back in Pep's good books. What do you think of Leon Bailey? Yeah, I mean, he's a player in form. Brighton away, though, is tough. And although Brighton haven't been as consistent defensively in recent games as I would have liked. Let's just look at home. So there's a 4-1 against Chelsea. That was just annoying. They kept a clean sheet against Nottingham Forest. Spurs scored 1 against them. They conceded 2 against Leicester at home. Clean sheet against Leeds and Newcastle United. So decent home form. Shadrach says, any news on the Haaland and Wilson situations? This is the Wilson news. I do think he'll get minutes. Ben seems to think that he will get some minutes as well, which is promising. In terms of Haaland, Pep is going to be speaking in about 4 minutes. I don't think we've had any firm news come out of the press conferences yet, but they're definitely coming shortly. So we'll keeping an eye on it, guys. Catch Them says, should I prioritise Wilson or James Justin out? 0.8 in the bank. That's a difficult one, really, because it depends on the potential for the players that you're getting in each position. I think if you're replacing James Justin, if you can get to an Arsenal defender, if you've not already trebled up on them, then that's going to be the logical place to go. If you can't do that, then maybe deal with the Wilson situation. If you've got just that 1 free transfer and you're looking to make some improvements on there. So that's my advice in terms of those ones. Tricky though, it is tricky this week. I do wish there wasn't quite so many issues. Who should I captain? Haaland, Jesus, De Bruyne, Almiron or Trossard? If you've got Kevin De Bruyne, I'd be very tempted to captain De Bruyne this week. He's going to play, he's in great form, he's going to play 90 minutes. Like, he didn't play in the Carabao Cup, did he? Did he? I don't think he did. But he's played 90 minutes in the last 4 Premier League games. 2 goals, 1 assist. Could easily have had more than that. So, yeah, I like that. What are we... Tell me in the comments, guys. What are we hoping for from Pep today? I mean, I would love to captain Haaland. I'm just not convinced on his minutes. I kind of want Pep to say Haaland's going to start. But I think he's trying to protect him so that he doesn't have to lose him to do a little bit of pointless friendlies for Haaland before the World Cup. So it'll be interesting to see what he says. I'm going to leave the tweet deck open now because we are going to start to get this news filtering through. But I will keep going with a few more questions while we're waiting as well. And stick on that screen. Niraj says, best 1 week striker punt with 8.1 million to spend. Jesus, if you don't own him. Question from, this has made me laugh, this one. Sorry, I've lost my place in the chat, it's confused me. Easily confused. From Edward, what is the secret? Why always have Foden in? I've been wondering that for a few weeks now. Why do we have Foden? It's been so frustrating. I initially had Cancelo, De Bruyne and Haaland. Then I sold Cancelo the week he got a double-digit haul to get Foden in and treble up on the attack. Then I dropped De Bruyne before his scoring streak to get Cancelo back in and kept Foden. It's just been a nightmare. Oh, what news are we going to get? It's going to be interesting. Remember, we're wanting news on Mitrovic as well, which I think will be cut and dry. Is there anyone else that we're waiting for injury news on that you need to know about? Hopefully no surprises come up, else we're screwed, basically. Chew, I say if you've got those players on your bench, then don't take the hit. Stephen says, Ward or Pope for goalkeeper this week? For me, I think I'd just play Pope. He's the better keeper, and I don't think there's a huge difference in their clean sheet potential. All right, let's get some news from Manchester United. So Ten Hag has said Martial being first choice striker. He said, put it this way, it's quite clear in my way of playing, I like the type that Martial is. So that is promising. Hopefully you can see that on screen. That's from Samuel Luckhurst. For Martial's minutes. So, you know, those managers wanting to go Mitrovic to Martial, probably not the worst punt. There's a lot of these questions from the managers is going to be to do with players getting call-ups for their respective countries, by the way, especially England. There's going to be a massive skew on that. So going to have to filter all of that out as these things come through. But hopefully, I'm just going to resize this window, guys. So if I can press the right button, don't want to lose anything. Because it is just cutting the top off and it's annoying me. There we go. Ten Hag says Ronaldo could make the squad against Fulham. That's not what you want to hear as someone considering Martial. So let that be a consideration, guys. There's no guarantees that Martial starts. Kyle Walker is out. Calvin Phillips is available. But also got comments on Champions League draws as well and Europa League draws. Yeah, so that's the update from Simon Stone on Phillips and Walker. Someone asked about Haaland. What they need to do is get FPL managers in all these press conferences. I think they should all have started now. It looks like Leeds, Liverpool are all ongoing. Bamford is out of the Spurs game. If anyone was looking at him as an option. Come on, we need news on Haaland. We need news on Mitrovic. This is what we're waiting for, guys. Hopefully I can spot it on screen before. I think there's probably a little bit of a delay between these tweets going out and you seeing them, about a 30-second delay, but it's as live as it can be. It's just been such a headache with all these injuries and speculation over the last few weeks. It's made it really hard for us FPL managers. While we're waiting for Haaland news, guys, just hit the like button for me. Get this out to more people. Will allow me to do more streams. This will be the last one for a while. I should be back the week before Christmas. It could well be the 23rd of December where I'm doing a Christmas live stream for Game Week 17, and there's going to be plenty going on while we're trying to finalise our squads for the second half of the season. Yeah, Peter said, thought Mitrovic has a broken foot. We are waiting for the firm announcement from Marco Silva that he is going to be out. I feel like nothing's loading on here for a while. Let me hit the refresh button. Just Pep saying Pep things. Pep asked what is going to happen at the World Cup and he's put, I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow against Brentford. I do. It's like love him or loathe him, isn't it, with Pep, especially for FPL managers right now. Let's see what other news we get through. Still not heard anything on Haaland yet. So I'm going to have to he's keeping us waiting. I mean, last week we were up in arms because he turned out up to his press conference late and then gave us no news. This week, all these press conferences happening and, you know, I think this is just clickbait, guys. Whatever Pep's saying on Haaland will come through in a second. I mean, this just sums it up for FPL managers. So saying that Brentford are hard to beat, I don't know how the minds of our players will be. Early kickoff, always a little more complicated. We have to do our best. Pep has said in the past that Brentford do defend deep, so Whether that's promising for Foden or not, I don't know. But also, I think it probably means that Pep's thinking he's going to need to utilise Haaland. Look at this. Here we go, guys. Haaland is a bit better. We'll see if he is fit for tomorrow after training today. Typical Pep, but that is not positive at all. He doesn't want to rule him in. He's protecting him. He wants him to stay at Man City and not go on international duty with Norway next week. I bet he'll be in the squad, but he'll be on the bench. So frustrating. What does that one say? It's just the same thing. Marco Silva is in. Let me just clip that up so that you can see it, guys. See it in full. Haaland is a bit better. We'll see if he is fit for tomorrow after training. It's so frustrated, guys. Tell me it's not just me. This is why my armband is on Salah. There is absolutely no way Haaland is going to play 90 minutes. Marco Silva has said not much different to the last game in terms of his team news. I just don't know now, guys. It's so annoying. It's every week. I think I'm ready for a break. I bet you guys are as well. As you can see, though, Mo Salah, captain at the moment. We should get firm news on Mitrovic in the next few minutes though, guys, from Marco Silva as well. So that's certainly going to be an interesting one. And I promise that once we've seen through these press conferences, we'll go back to answering some more questions. Seen a bit of reaction in the chat as well. Yogesh said, Haaland isn't worth the headache. I'd rather captain Salah. We are there. I understand how you feel. Seems a bit steady updating again, so I'm just going to hit the refresh button. If that's all Marco Silva's going to say, doesn't really help, does it? Sorry, I'm sighing again. I was doing that last week. So Marco Silva has basically just said he's got the same issues as last week. Well, obviously, that's going to rule Mitrovic out, but he hasn't actually said the words yet. Oh, dear. Why does FPL have to be this way, eh? Why are they doing this to us? We will see, we will see. Pep, we wanted to know now. To be fair, there's not a lot else coming up on the deck at the moment, guys. Don't know why. It's like the slowest 130 presses ever. It's 138. Yaya says that is promising for Alvarez. Yeah, I agree there. And FPL Benchwarmers has said very tricky. My captain KDB. I like that. I'm 100% going to captain Haaland now. Wow. Saying I was just about to say I'm 100% going to captain Salah now, but the word Haaland came out of my mouth. Is that a sign? We're clutching at straws, aren't we? We are definitely clutching at straws. Bit of news through about the Liverpool attackers. Light Race said I might as well put a yellow flag on all of my forwards. Yeah, I know. No news on Foden, nothing at all. Just we will see. He keeps saying that Brentford are a difficult team to attack against, so whether Foden is the right player for that, whether he wants, you know, a bit more pace, who knows. While we're waiting for that update on Mitrovic, guys, hit that like button for me. Let's try and get to 100 likes. There's 150 of you in, so it's gonna It's going to be interesting. Team News and Ticks has now just posted Pep as helpful as ever in his press conference. We know. God knows what plans he's got. Another comment from Pep on Haaland. So Mahrez, Haaland, Sergio Gomez and Rico Lewis are the only ones basically not going to the World Cup. I don't think that's particularly relevant for this week. Remember, so Marco Silva's currently talking about Andreas Pereira. Obviously, quite a significant fixture for him. Still nothing on Mitrovic, solidly. But, you know, we know the situation now, don't we? I think Marco Silva's silence on Mitrovic is quite telling. We're so going to get another leak, aren't we? Let me put a poll up, guys. Now that we've got this information, I'm just going to go, will you captain Haaland? Because I'm not going to put other options on there, because there are a lot of other options if you're not confident on Haaland minutes. Will you captain Haaland in game week 16? It's just going to be a simple yes, no. I remember to end it this week as well, because I forgot last week. I was just too frustrated with Pep last time. Pete has said he's just moved the captain armband from Haaland to Salah. Might move it back if we get team news. Interesting. I mean, Pep was more vague, even more vague than I was anticipating, but honestly, I do think the situation is he doesn't want him going to Norway. Pep said, I would prefer Haaland would go to the World Cup, but now he'll be in Marbella and maybe Norway before he returns to us. Yeah, Pep doesn't want anyone having their hands on his man. That's what I'm reading into that. Oh, it's an interesting week again though, guys. Really is. The site's so going to crash again as well. Still nothing firm, I can't see, from Marco Silva on Mitrovic. Someone's clearly not asked him the question, so he's just not said anything. But basically, you know, if Ben Dinnery is saying that report from Serbia that he's going to be out for the first game of the World Cup, if Ben Dinnery is endorsing that, then yeah, there's no way he's going to be around for this week. We're up to 80 likes, guys. There's 150 of you in. While we're still waiting for news on Mitrovic, hit that like button. Let's get me to 100 likes on the stream, guys. Come on, guys. Thank you. Yeah, it seems very quiet. Very quiet on all this news. Des has said Pep is about as helpful as a chocolate teapot. I like that one. Fayed says he thinks Haaland and Foden will play. Well, yeah, probably, but are they going to start? Because no one wants to hold Foden if he's not going to start. No one wants to captain Haaland if he's not going to start. This is the dilemma. I'm getting a little bit bored waiting for more like proper news from these press conferences, guys. So what I think I'll do is leave the tweet deck on the screen so that we can continue to keep an eye on things, but also carry on with the questions. I'm going to carry on with the questions from where I got up to before we kind of broke off. So I'll do my best to answer all of them, guys, but I may not get to all of them. I'm sorry. There's a lot of you in and a lot of you asking great questions, which is lovely to see, but the downside is I'm not going to be able to answer all of them. I'll just put that update from Pep on again though. Haaland is a bit better. We'll see if he is fit for tomorrow after training today. So vote in the poll, let me know. It's currently about 50-50. We're not at 100 likes yet though, guys. Come on. Rody says, should I triple captain Haaland? Absolutely not. I mean, even if Haaland was fully fit, I would still say no. There'll be double game weeks with great fixtures later in the season. So there's no point risking it in a single game week. Sorry, I think I've just lost my place in the chat, so I'm just scrolling back up. Why is everyone wanting to triple captain this week? I don't understand that. And why has no one asked Marco Silva if Mitrovic is injured? It's ridiculous. Get me in that press conference. I'll get the news that we want. Christian has asked, oh, it's said about Perisic that he's going to bench him and start Rashford. I think it's difficult. Who else is on your bench? Thinking of Captain Kane over Haaland. Yeah, I think that's a good move. Naylor says, would you take Darwin and Almiron for Mitrovic and Saka? I wouldn't sell Saka. He's a very good pick this week. Especially now, I'd say he's a captain pick. Pink pick. Christian, would you triple captain Kane this week against Leeds? No. Got to triple captain Haaland in a double game week, and if not Salah. Maybe Kane in a double game week, but yeah. Rodrov said, would you start Mitrovic over Wilson then? No, you need to get rid of Mitrovic because of the injury that Marco Silva has not confirmed. Ridiculous. Richard says, would you do De Bruyne to Salah and Mitrovic to Darwin for a -4? No, I don't think so. Frederick has said, do you think Kane and Darwin are better than Haaland and Pereira? Because that's the decision I have to make. I'll captain Salah. I don't think anyone should really switch between premiums this week. And I mean, selling Haaland isn't really an option because you're going to want him back after the World Cup break and he's going to cost you about 0.4 million more if you've had him long term. So just hold your premiums, hope for the best. Cameron says, who do you like for the World Cup? England, of course. No, I don't think England are going to do as well as they did at the Euros because the form of the squad isn't really in the right place. I feel like World Cups and Euros are won and lost based on, the strength in midfield, and Calvin Phillips just coming back from injury is an issue. Charles and Hurley, is it worth a -4 Firmino to Darwin? No. I think Firmino is a good pick in his own right this week. Yeah? I can't believe there's nothing on Mitrovic. This is absolutely ridiculous. Why has no one asked? I know we kind of read in between the lines, we know the news, but it's nice to have it there in black and white. We'll see. Instead of turning into Pep, we will see. We'll see after training. It's so frustrating. Keep the questions coming though, guys. I'll do my best to answer them in the last 10 minutes. And make sure you're voting in the poll as well, just so that we get an idea. We're on 96 likes. Help me over. Mickey says Darwin captain. I feel he has a haul coming. I think owning Darwin is enough of a differential. I don't think you need to captain him. I've mentioned the players that I think are captainable assets this week. Kane, Salah, De Bruyne, Saka. Ken Fox says, is Mitrovic ruled out? We don't know. No one has asked Marco Silva in his press conference. He said the availability is similar to last week, so. Musty has said, my main defence is Trippier, Cancelo, Thiago Silva. You think I should change anything? If you've got a free transfer burning a hole in your pocket, then I don't mind moving Thiago Silva on for a Arsenal defender this week if you're not already trebled up on Arsenal. Andy is in. Thanks for joining, Andy. Nice to see the membership emoji in the chat. I'm going to captain Salah or KDB. Which one would you go for? Now, that is a tough question, Andy. I'm on Salah. If I own De Bruyne as well, which one would I go for? I mean, it's really difficult, that one. The $1 million question. I'm going to take inspiration from the points prediction tool on Hub. Put Salah at 8.3 points, De Bruyne at 8. Salah's on pens though. So if it's that close, maybe just go for Salah because he's on pens. You know, it's hard to judge City's appeal when we don't know whether Haaland's starting. But I don't think he will. Gazman said kept Haaland last week but didn't captain him and it shot him down the rankings, so he gets the armband. But I went Salah last week and he shot me up the rankings going with him over Haaland. I honestly think it is worth the risk this week. Oh, it's so tough though. So tough. Keep the questions coming, guys. Got about 5 more minutes on those. I'm going through them in order of when they came in. Jarrell has said, should I go KDB to Salah or Jesus to Firmino or both? Depends on free transfers. If it's free transfers, I think I'd get... Is that selling Jesus? Because I wouldn't sell him for Firmino. Would you do KDB to Salah? It's risky. Really risky. If you've got a transfer to burn though and you fancy Salah captain, could just about pay off. Colm says, Foden news, good or bad, I don't care at this point. I feel you. Musty says, I hope Rashford starts. Yeah, he should do. Jimbo says, are we sure Rashford is starting? I'm debating between him and Trossard. I think Trossard's the better FPL asset. Ethan is saying, do I sell De Bruyne for Salah? I mean, De Bruyne could easily outscore Salah this week, but if you've got a free transfer and you think that Salah will outscore De Bruyne and you want to captain Salah because you think he's the best captain option this week and you've got no issues elsewhere, then go for it. Just know the consequences, that's all I'd say. No news on Foden. I mean, there wouldn't be any news. It's not like he's injured. But, you know, he's obviously been out of favour. Angus has said, would you take a -4 to bring in Darwin and Solanke for Mitrovic and Wilson? I'd keep Wilson and just use your free transfer to swap Mitrovic out. Solanke, if that's all you can afford. Have a look at Jesus and Firmino though as well. And maybe Martial. I'll admit he's an option. He's not one that I'm going for. City will get a 0-0 draw now. That is a prediction. Prony says Benrahma or Eze. Let's see what the prediction tools say. Tell you what, let's just search them. Be easier. So Benrahma is predicted to score 4.9 points. Eze is predicted to score 3.8 points. I don't have a lot of faith in Palace away, if that helps. We never did get anything firm from Marco Silva though, but I think we can assume that Mitrovic is out. It's frustrating though. Nelson has said, hey Holly, Robertson or an Arsenal defender? I think I would go Robertson. Current captain on KDB. Yeah, I think that's good. Des has said the servers are going to crash again. Yeah, probably. So annoying. The poll is quite interesting, guys. If you haven't voted yet, please do. I'm just going to dash through the last few questions before wrapping things up. So if you have got any last questions, get them in. Yaya is going to captain Firmino if he doesn't captain Haaland. That is bold. I'd sooner go Salah if you own him. Lost my place in the chat again, guys. Always doing this. Don't know how I do it. Sashin, any update on Wilson? Yeah. Here's the updates then. So Wilson trained separately. Make a decision tomorrow. I think he'll get some minutes. Haaland, bit better. We'll see if he's fit. Haaland will be in the squad. Whether he comes on or not just depends how good City are playing. Whether they need it or not. Mickey says Darwin captain. I don't know how keen I am on that. Salah's the best player in that attack. He's on pens. He's central. Yaya said if Haaland gets 35 minutes tomorrow, it's more than enough for a double-digit haul. Yeah. So always got potential. Always. Oh, headaches, guys. Right, I'm going to end the poll there, guys. So 63% of you are still going to captain Haaland. That is interesting. We never got a firm update from Marco Silva on Mitrovic, which is ridiculous. But we need, because of the news we had from Ben Dinnery earlier this week, we can assume that he's out because he's not expected to be in the Serbia squad. So to wrap up, guys, I am going to captain Salah and vice-captain Haaland unless I hear that Haaland is starting and the FPL site doesn't crash. That is my plan. I've not made my transfer yet. I am planning on Mitrovic out for Solanke. Just waiting for the Arsenal press conference before making the move. Although, I don't, other than Tomiyasu, I don't have any Arsenal players. I could just make the move. Could just do it now. I don't like doing it on stream though. I feel like things go wrong when I do it on stream. So I'll post it later when it's confirmed. I might do a little short for you guys so you can see what I've done on that. But yeah, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Thank you so much for joining, guys. I'll be back probably on the 23rd of December in terms of streams. To be fair, as we get closer to the season coming back, I might do a few Friday streams as we get into December. If you want me to, guys, let me know if you do, because I do think they're quite useful. But yeah, I'll leave things there. Good luck, everyone. Hope the servers don't crash. Hope you get your captain locked in and your changes. And you have a good game week. I need 1 point and 1 point off the top 1 million. So wish me luck.